Hello everyone. In my journal making, I am using unbleached cotton fabric for the gray board that I'm using as a layout. I'm using the measurement is A5 gray board with 2-inch spine measurements, and I'm using Call All glue into the gluing into the unbleached cotton fabric to get the base cover made for the journal book that I am creating. And I'm using the book beginner's tool to get the spine measurements between the front page and the back page. And I'm using the I'm just using the one side sticker sheet to get the spine fold between the front and back book cover page. So this is actually to hold the spine when I'm doing the layout on the cotton fabric that I'm using. So it just gives a little bit of holding together. That's important when you're making when I'm making the spine attaching into the front and back gray board book cover. And I'm doing the scoring as well because I would like to have that finishing look in between with the spine, especially to get the scoring. So I'm using the cotton fabric for the layout for the front and back, and this is the way I do the my base cover for the journal book. So I'm using now is the batten fabric that actually you can find it from shops that you online as well. So this is actually to give the finishing look when I'm attaching the main fabric for the main cover. So it's just it gives to keep the texture of the fabric rather losing the texture and to get the finishing. So that's the main idea. I'm using the batten fabric to the book cover. So I'm just attaching it with glue. So this is the finishing that I have completed. This is the way it looks. And I hope this journaling tips helps you in my journal making. So I'm just using the main fabric. I'm using double-sided adhesive sheets, same measurements for A5 and 2-inch in measurements, so that I'll be able to use it. And I'm using top of the layering of the batting fabric so that I'll be able to attach that to the main fabric. So just follow the method that I'm using, so it's easy as well. So we just have to do from each page or the front cover and the spine and the back cover when you're actually gluing from the adhesive sheet, the double-sided, into the main fabric. So I'm just not using 1/2 inch measurements for allowance. I always do leave 1/2 inch, but I'm using 1 inch for this journal. And I'm doing the corners because I'm going to use the corners, journaling corners. So because of that, I'm doing the fold in to get the corners. So I'm using the glue to attach to get the finishing of the corners. So I'm just adding more glue and I'm just making the fold in to the journaling book to get the fold. And also I am scoring the spine, and I'm using fabric to the center, and I'm using A4 printed cardstock for the finishing of the inside of the journal book. And this is actually one method I'm using. This is one I actually use for fabric when I'm especially doing the spine, inside the spine fold. So I'm just adding the cardstock, and I'm just doing the corners because I need to get the correctly the corners, gluing in the both side, front and back of the journal book. So, and I'm just going to use the fabric that I just made as a fold to the center of the spine by gluing and scoring as well, because I'm just wanted to add some lace. Because of that, I'm just doing the edges by the zigzag scissor, and I'm using the lace trim for the both side of the fabric. Some gluing, so I'm just adding glue into the center now. So I'm using the fold that I'll be able to get the center for the layering of the spine to cover. So it's easy for me when you actually have the both sides actually folded in. I'm scoring because I need the perfect line for the center. Now I have done a little bit lace, and I'm just doing the trimming of the edges. So I have added the main fabric to the journal cover. In my journal making, this is actually the hardware or the trinkling section, because I'm adding the book corners to the journal. So I'm using the pliers, jewelry making pliers. I got the flat one and the regular one that we use, and the circle one. So it's easy for me to adjust the corners while I'm working. So I use the journal book corners. I look for the safety ones, so because it's just sometimes I really like the safetiness. And I'm using for the elastic closure, the measurement always accurate and the same. It's going to be 3 in 5 inches gap. So I use the 3 and 5. And you all know we use the crop-a-dile hole punch, and I'm using the 3 in 16. So that's the measurement I'm taking. Eyelets, I'm using the base 2 eyelets. So it's actually easy. Sometimes the eyelets are depends on the differences. I use the scissors to make the hole little bit bigger. So because I'm using the safety ring with the eyelets, I am using the leather punch hole. It's easy for me to handle, because when I was starting making the journal book, I had this and it's actually helped me. So I am just working with it. I'm still having that, so I'm using that for the to make the eyelets hole. So this is the main part in my journal making. Making the spine, elastic spine for the signature pages. So I'm using the double-sided adhesive sheets with the fabric for the spine cover. So I'm trimming it a little bit less than the spine. The spine is 2 inch, so I'm just making a little bit less, and I'll be using the zigzag scissors to do a little bit trimming around the fabric that will be holding the covering the elastics after I attach them. And I'm just doing a little bit of a half circle from the 2 edges of the fabric, and I'm just this is the elastic that I'm using. It's going to be 2 millimeter elastic. So I'm just taking the measurements how much elastic I need. I'm just actually, when I'm doing the elastic, I do a little bit extra on the elastic. So I'm using double-sided adhesive sheets on the spine, so I can actually attach the elastic around the spine, because it's really important when it's coming to the spine. The spine need to be holding, because it's going to hold the signature pages, because I'm making removable signature pages that you can add and remove pages as well. So the idea is the spine need to be really isolated and secure as well, mainly. So I'm just adding the elastic that will be holding the signature pages. And I just want to let you all know as well, the reason is because I'm using the firm board. It's really ideal for me to work when I'm making my journal books, to rotate the journal books rather actually moving the journal book itself. So it's really easy for me to use this firm board for easy way to handle the journal book as well. And I'm using double-sided tape after I done the spine. So just I'm attaching it to secure, and I'm adding little bit glue, and I'm leaving to dry. After it dried, I'm just removing the double-sided tape, and I'm going to add glue on the fabric that's going to cover the spine and in the spine as well. So after I added the glue, I'll be just attaching the fabric covering the spine, the elastic spine that I've just added and created, and I'm using fabric glue around the spine to secure the fabric line as well, because that's important to isolate that fabric joint that I have done. And I'm using the elastic that you can get, this fabric elastic from online, and any colors that can be. So this is actually for the closure of the journal book. So I'm just attaching it into the eyelets that I created, and I will be decorating the elastic closure with beads, the collective beads that I'll be after I decorated the front cover. So those are going to be embellishment and decorative embellishments, elements that I'll be adding to the journal book. So thank you for joining. The next is I'll be updating the signature pages. In the journal making process, when it's coming to signature pages, I would say it's personal, because it shows the crafter's individuality in journal making. Because everyone who are making their journal books as a unique way of layering their own ideas with the signature pages into the journal book. So I always look into each and everyone's craft and creativity. It's personal, shows in an individuality in the crafting. So in the process of my journal making, I use cardstock 180 GSM or 160 GSM, blank pages with handmade paper, doilies. I do create my own vellum print signature pages, and I do actually add blank pages. The reason is because I mostly do for creative writing, and I combine with print design print pages as well. So it's just a combination of pages, a collective pages, so put together to make this beautiful journal book that I create as journal making. Signature pages that I add to the journal book. So the measurements is always one measurement in my journal making. So it will be on 8-inch and fold going to be 14 centimeters. So all the folding pages, I lay them, so it's easy for me when I'm having making the signature pages putting together. It just gives me how to arrange for the signature pages, layout, how to add the doilies, vellum, blank pages, blank art pages, white pages, colorful pages, print pages, the way I wanted to make it, combine it and layer it, the signature pages for my journal books in my journal making. It is beautiful when it is coming to a combination of craft paper. So there are many craft papers that we actually can buy, and there are many ways that we actually create our craft papers as well. So vellum print is something I really like designing when I'm doing my journal making. So I really like to do my vellum prints. So after layering all the signature pages, I always start from the back to the front. So I just add the signature pages through the elastic spine. Also, it's And so it is removable pages and add pages as well. The person who actually working on the journal book can personalize it for their style. So that's the main idea. So I create the journal book for creative writing. So that's why I always use blank pages for creative writing. So it's just next going to be decorating the front cover. So this is the main part in the journal making, decorating the journal book. It's like going into a crafter's haberdashery. So it's just we all want our journal books to be beautiful. So that's the main 100%. So I actually, when I'm decorating my journal book, I use appliques, lace, ribbon, beads, any embellishment, sewing embellishment that I come across, I add into my journal book when I'm making, when I'm decorating my journal books. So mainly comes the front cover embellishing with ribbon, lace, appliques. Sometimes we actually do our DIY projects as well. It depends the way you want your front cover on your journal book, on your project. Paperclip journal charm, the fabric journal dangle for the journal book, and the elastic closure with the beaded I decorate. So that's the way I actually added in my journal making. So this is the process I do when I'm making my journal book. So it's just mostly it's going to be like fabric, beads I added. So it's embellishments, elements that I combine. Sometimes it depends on the haberdashery, we say a crafter's haberdashery that we actually come across when we are decorating our journal book. So we all want, as I said, we all want our journal books to be beautiful, presentable as well for the people who are buying our journal book. And I'm really glad that I managed to do this video to everyone to show my journal making, how I process, how I create, and my ideas, how I work, and my style as well. I'm really pleased on that. So I will try to update more videos to everyone. So it's just the process of making the journal book and the way I actually style my journal book and the idea that I actually have. And mainly is, we need to know what we are doing, because in journal making there are categories that need to be section and categorize, and there are few ways that we actually have to follow. Or as I always said, I have a rule that I follow when I'm making my journal book, and I try to keep on that rule, because that's the way actually easy for me to see what I'm working as. So, and thank you very much everyone for joining. Thank you.